No Fun, the Jen Kirkman podcast, season 11, episode 19. I'm your host, Jen Kirkman. Hi, everybody. Well, I don't know if you remember last week's episode, but I was complaining about how on the picket lines for the WGA strikers, us Writers Guild folks who are on strike here on the East and the West Coast, I was saying that on the West Coast, celebrities are coming out delivering pizza, bringing coffee, all kinds of stuff. And that here on the East Coast, it's been less of that. And I made a little video and I put it on TikTok and I was saying, where are the celebrities? And I don't know how, but somehow Flava Flav found my video on TikTok. And he doesn't know who I am. I don't mean that like, don't you know who I am? Like when Reese Witherspoon was drunk and pulled over by the cops and was like, yeah, I know who I am. I don't mean it that way. I don't mean that I am a who, that there should be a you know who I am about. What was that sentence? No, what I mean is he doesn't follow me. He doesn't know me from a hole in the wall. But somehow my video made its way to him. And he replied in all caps, where are y'all at? I'm not in New York, but I got you tomorrow. And then the next day came back and wrote, let your boy know. I mean, listen, this guy, not even in New York, is going to try to do something for us and then follows up the next day because I didn't write back. And he's like, let me know. I didn't see. The thing is, I don't really engage on TikTok. I post something. I call it post and bail. I just post and then I bail, and I don't wait around and read comments. I don't revisit what I post. I really don't spend time on TikTok at all. I can't deal with the scrolling and watching videos. It just makes my mind feel nauseous. And so, but I decided, oh, you know what? I think I posted something about the strike. I wonder how well that video did. And it had like 42,000 views. I don't get 42,000 views on TikTok ever. I post one of the visual audiograms on my about my podcast, 500 views, if anything. And so, that's how it got back to Flavor. Anyway, I'll call him Flavor. Now, I thought his name used to be spelled Flava Flav, but here, and it's verified, so it's really him, it's Flavor Flav. Didn't he used to be Flava? Am I getting my public enemy history correct here? I don't know. Maybe he changed it. Maybe he's matured. But anyway, so other people started writing back to him and gave him the locations of certain strike places. And he's like, thank God someone answered me. I was going to start sending pizzas to random studios. I thought that was so nice. I still never wrote back and gave the location because it's really not the point. My point is celebrities need to show up to get publicity. And then once they're there, they should bring something. That's all. But that was very sweet. Shout out to Flava Flav. And ironically, I was walking. I was going to say marching, but no one's marching. But one of the picketing songs was Fight the Power by Public Enemy. They were playing it in a big speaker there. So the universe just comes together sometimes, It just all comes together. So I was reading this article that normally wouldn't really be of interest to me. It was about an influencer who went to Coachella to promote some makeup stuff, and then she left early. But what I thought was interesting about it, what made me interested in the article, was this notion that, is it, in quotes, privileged to know yourself well enough that when you're done working and you maybe have to break a commitment, break a contract, and leave your work environment, do what you said you would do, but not stay for the whole thing. So I'll read you the article so that you know what I'm talking about. Because I do think that people overuse the concept of saying that someone has privilege. And this is not, trust me, I am not doing that thing that Gen X male comedians do who are saying, oh, is everyone so sensitive? And what do you mean white privilege? I had a tough childhood. I'm not stupid. That's not what I mean. But now this notion that used to mean, yeah, you have some natural privileges. If you're straight, if you're cisgender, if you're white, if you're male, if you're whatever, there's inherent privileges that you may not even know, but they're getting you through certain situations that you didn't even know you got through because you weren't stopped. You weren't pulled over by the cops for no reason. We get what I'm saying. But then, I feel that people have become privilege happy, where they're just, everything is, oh, you're privileged. Oh, that's privilege. And I ask, well, isn't that okay sometimes? In other words, if someone has a certain privilege and they exercise it and it's for their own well-being and it's something that others can learn from and go, oh, I should do that for myself. Isn't that a good thing? And I guess you could argue, well, no, if you're rich, you can do certain things, but if you're broke, you can't. I get it. I think this is a terrible example of people calling someone out on privilege. I have other issues with what this person did. I think I can go into that. I mean, not that I have issues with what this person did, but I have thoughts. So let's just read the article before you're going insane, going, well, I don't even know what you're talking about. So this is on the, New York Magazine's website, The Cut. And this is from back in April, but Tilo Kensington, she's a 23-year-old beauty influencer. She said on TikTok, it's Coachella day 3, but I've made the executive decision that I'm going to go home today. She said she would not be attending the remainder of the festival because she wanted to, quote, not push myself. She was invited to Coachella and accompanied by Kourtney Kardashian's lifestyle and wellness brand, Poosh. Since Tilo's an influencer, the brand probably paid for her flight, her stay, her Coachella wristband, and activities while on the campgrounds. She detailed in her TikTok video that the trunk full of goodies that Poosh gifted her would be everything needed to, quote, save my life for the 3-day weekend festival. However, despite the gummies, which promised to help you chill, Tilo felt it was best to head home early. She said, I'm really starting to listen to my body and not push myself when my body is telling me to sleep and go home. I need to listen. The influencer claimed that when she doesn't listen to her body, she starts to, quote, completely spiral, and recounted an experience of being on another trip and forced to, quote, rage and party, leading her to push her limits. The blowback was swift. Some called her wasteful and suggested that she fulfill her work obligations despite feeling exhausted. One user commented, how privileged, to which Tilo defended herself, asking why she should push herself beyond her limits when dealing with extreme anxiety. This led to a conversation that usually pits boomers and millennials against a younger generation. And the millennials they're referencing was Kim Kardashian in her video saying, no one wants to work these days. Tilo said she's exercising her boundaries within the workplace, even if that work comes with perks like a free Coachella wristband, a chef, etc. These gifts are proven not to outweigh the human need for rest to balance out the work. Like any employee, Tilo put in the work. She took the selfies, she made the TikToks, and she tagged the brands. She listened to her body and didn't burn out. So the person that wrote this article says, since when is it privileged to know your limits? And I actually agree. And actually everybody in the comments tends to agree. The first comment that I read, somebody said, Coachella looks exhausting, full stop. If you don't want to be there because you're tired and you fulfilled your work obligations, who cares if you leave? Seriously. I feel the same way. Now, my only thing about this would be, and this is me forcing myself to have a negative take just so that I'm balanced, but if you know yourself and you know that you're going to probably burn out, is there a way to work that into your job and say, can it be in my contract that I still get paid if I just fulfill this, this, and this, I can't stay the whole time. Or, I can make multiple videos and I can post them every day of Coachella, but I can't actually be there the whole time. Whatever it is, I feel like in this new age of, post-COVID, people talking about burnout, people realizing that the 40-hour work week is kind of bullshit, even though at the time it was this amazing, miracle of labor unions to get the work week to this normal thing. And now we realize, well, that was back when, it was assumed that women wouldn't work. So you've got one person taking care of the home and the kids and all of life's things, and you have one person working. That's just not how it is anymore. So now, is a 40-hour work week manageable? Is it necessary? How much of it are you actually working? Can you get paid the same money for less hours? Can you be flexible? Can some weeks where it's necessary you work 10 because that's all the job needs? Some weeks maybe you're working 50, but you've got a set weekly salary, not by the hour, whatever. Or it's a yearly salary that is not actually contingent on let's divide up every week into 40 hours. As we start taking mental health seriously and thinking about days off for mental health and being able to leave work or take longer breaks without being stigmatized, I do think that there's a way to do it and a way not to do it. And I think, look, ideally, you sort of plan in advance so that you don't take on something that causes you anxiety and stress. And obviously, sometimes when you just hit a wall and you didn't know, then obviously you should be able to just stop what you're doing without being stigmatized. But in general, I would say maybe she's got to think about if this is for her, if that makes sense. Why am I taking this so seriously? I don't know why. For some reason, I felt like it. But I also want to say there's something to be said for, this is me sounding like the biggest dork who ever lived. But is there a world where you can go to Coachella and go to bed early and sleep and not have to rage and not have to take the drugs? The drugs, says the least cool person who's ever done a podcast, or drink. You know what I mean? Are you supposed to be TikToking your presence at a raging party? Can you just TikTok from the first 5 minutes of the party? Maybe it's not raging at that point. Maybe it's just 3 people awkwardly, standing around the dip, not wanting to be the first person to take some. I love that I think there's parties with dip at Coachella. Why wouldn't there be? I don't know. Listen, but then I go, were you sleeping in a tent? This is me. This is how little I know. And I know someone's going to email me, well, technically, Coachella. I don't care. I know it's very VIP. She's not sleeping in a tent. She's not camping. But I'm just saying, is it like the party hotel? So you could go to bed early if you wanted, but all you hear are your walls vibrating and like, as, club music is playing. Or is it just she really doesn't have the discipline to put herself to bed early at Coachella? She would have too much FOMO. See, I don't relate to that. I have whatever the opposite of FOMO is. No of missing out. No fear of missing out. I have no FOMO. No FOMO. N apostrophe FOMO. No fear of missing out. Because nothing is ever as it seems. It's like if you're going somewhere determined to have a good time, you're going to have a good time. If you're going somewhere going, well, I don't really want to go, but I don't want to miss out, don't go. Don't go. Don't go, don't go, don't go. And if you really can't get your mind around the fact that you missed out, then don't look at social media. Don't ask your friends how it was. Just, you got to make a decision. You're going into your bubble. It never happened. You never want to know that whatever you're missing out on happened. Just go into your bubble. But I would say 1,000,000% of the time, if you're only going somewhere because you're afraid of missing out, you didn't have a good time, and you would have had the best time being at home, doing your own thing, if you could just learn to not have the FOMO. Because if you, again, I always say, well, I don't always say, but I said this once. I said it in my book that I wrote called I Know What I'm Doing and Other Lies I Tell Myself. No big deal. I'll plug my book on my own podcast. I don't give a shit. You can buy it, a paperback, Kindle. Just don't buy a used copy. That doesn't help me. We gotta get the numbers up so that I can get into the residuals. Anyway, my point is, there's a chapter where I talk about staying home alone on New Year's Eve. And when I say that, stay home alone on New Year's Eve, you go, oh my God, I can't do that. I would miss out. Oh, it's so depressing. But if I said to you, just clear your mind that it's New Year's Eve. It's not New Year's Eve. It's just Wednesday night, some Wednesday in February. And you are going to start drinking at 4:30. Like, not even to get drunk. You're just going to open a nice bottle of wine at 4:30. Because it's still dark out, right? It's just getting dark. So it's totally appropriate. And you're going to order in your favorite food. Maybe you're going to get mozzarella sticks. Maybe you're going to get pizza, something that you love. And maybe you've made a sheet cake for yourself and you have ice cream. Just something, things you enjoy. Maybe you enjoy vegetables and a glass of water. Maybe it's not junk food and booze. Whatever it is, your favorite foods, your favorite beverages. And you put on your comfiest pajamas and you light some candles and you get under a furry blanket and I don't know, you put a mud mask on, you deep condition your hair, you give yourself a pedicure, whatever it is you do. You get on that couch with all of your ice creams and all of your eye creams and you put on like 2 or 3 of your favorite movies, or maybe a movie you haven't seen yet that you're just so excited to watch that, you know, no one you know was interested in seeing, so it's just going to be you. Or you're binge watching your favorite TV series, you've saved it up for this night. If I told you, hey, this is going to be your night, Wednesday, February 10th, you'd be like, oh my God, yes, please. And I tell you, you can stay up as late as you want. You don't have to work the next day. Oh my, but it's, you know, you're not going to get in trouble. You get paid. You don't have to work the next day. Oh my God, you would be so happy. Now if I say you're doing all that, it's New Year's Eve. Oh my God, that's so depressing. No, it's not. But you're just conditioned to think you're missing out. You're missing out on nothing. You're missing out on a bunch of people that are going to be drunk at midnight. If you have no one to kiss, you're going to feel bad. If you do have someone to kiss, you can kiss them anytime. So like really what's so exciting about kissing someone at midnight? And then you're going to take a cab or an Uber home, and when you sit down in the cab or the Uber, there's going to be a wet, squishy sound under your butt, and you're going to be like, oh my God, the person in here before me puked. You know, and talk about surge pricing. You're going to pay like $100 to go 6 blocks. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. You're really not missing out. If you want to go out on New Year's Eve because that's your thing, go. Have the best time. But again, if you only go out on New Year's Eve because you're afraid of missing out, when is going to be the year that you realize you've never missed out once? So I say the same thing to influencers who feel pressure at Coachella. Is there a split the difference? Can you go to Coachella, promote all your potions and lotions out of the back of your trunk, keep Kourtney Kardashian happy, post your TikToks, tag the brands, get your money, get paid, influence it up, and then go to bed? I mean, I'm just being dumb, right? Am I not remembering what it was like to be in my 20s? But we didn't have this kind of thing. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I really just remember in my 20s just going out because I was excited to be out. And then I would just get so exhausted from working a day job, going out and doing comedy at night, and then going out and hanging out with people after till all hours, you know, sleeping 4 or 5 hours a night, 3 nights in a row. Then you crash one night and you just go home and chill and go to bed. I never felt I was missing out. I don't think. I really don't. But maybe I didn't miss out on anything. And maybe that's why I had anxiety. Although I don't think so. I think anxiety came from doing shit I hated doing. I don't know. I just don't relate. I'm not a FOMO person. But that doesn't mean I'm any better than anyone else. It probably means I'm just always in a low-grade depression and I'm perfectly happy to not go anywhere. But I'm perfectly happy once I do go somewhere. But I have learned I'm not going to go anywhere anymore that I don't want to do. I'm not going to go anywhere because I think I might miss out. Or if I do, the minute I realize, oh, I wouldn't have missed out, I'm out. Peace out, I'm leaving. So I support this influencer. I just say that as we get more into the space, as we're leading the charge into changing the 40-hour work week, into destigmatizing, taking care of our mental health, let's do it responsibly. Like, maybe don't just be like, I gotta go, if you can help it. But calling that a privilege, I guess so. But it's like, yeah, maybe it is a privilege. She already got paid. She's got this cushy job. Or it seems cushy, but it's still work is work is work, right? You're on the clock. You're doing something for someone else. It's not your free time. But whatever. I just like the term, saying that's privileged is so weird to me. So maybe you're thinking, well, my job at McDonald's, I can't just do that. Well, yeah, you don't have that same privilege. But it doesn't mean she should burn herself out because you can't do the same thing at McDonald's. It means if she is setting an example for not burning yourself out, maybe that will eventually make its way to you and your shift at McDonald's. Do you see what I'm saying? We got to let somebody lead the charge. I'm not saying let's let this 23-year-old influencer lead the charge into changing capitalism and corporate America's mental health rules, but, cool it on the throwing privilege around when it's really not applicable. It's really just not, because you're going to ruin the word privilege, and now you're going to ruin someone trying to do something for their mental health. You see what I mean? The enemy of perfection is, what is it? Something bad. Okay, great. You've learned something from Aunt Gen X. And if you want to hear the rest of this episode, jump on to Patreon. That rhymed. I didn't mean it to. You're going to love it over there. You get full-length episodes without ads, and it's a great community of people. If you choose to hop on the patreon.com website, you can talk to other members without any trolls or craziness. So see you over there. And if not, then until next week, have fun.